Okay, welcome back. You're watching India Market Close here on NDTV Profit. Now, one pocket or one space which is facing some bit of pressure today is pharma counters, and they've cracked between 1 to 6% odd across the board. Let's pull up the constituents of the pharma index as well today, and of course underperforming the Nifty 50. But look at those. Look at the pressure that's building up across the board, from a Gland Pharma all the way to an Alchem Labs, which is down nearly 7%. Of course, numbers also contributing to that. But the pack is in focus, and markets speculate that Trump's tariffs, which could be announced, could cause more pain here. Varsha joins us with perspective on this one. Varsha.
Thank you for that. So yes, pharma stocks are down due to concerns over possibility of US imposing tariffs on pharma imports. Now, Trump has threatened to impose 25% tariff on steel and aluminum imports in US, adding that similar tariffs would also be imposed on other goods, including pharmaceuticals. And this is the reason a lot of pharma companies are under pressure. Several pharma names like Dr. Reddy's, Cipla, Lupin, Aurobindo Pharma and Sun Pharma were down 1 to 3%, and weighed down by these losses, the Nifty Pharma index, if you see, slipped almost 2% in trade today. Now, if Trump went ahead and imposed tariffs on pharma imports in the US, it could be a huge setback for the Indian drug makers. Tariff would increase the cost of exporting drugs to the US and potentially reducing margin for these companies like Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy's. However, even though these concerns loom large, there haven't been any clear details, of Trump's plan to impose tariffs. But let's see what are the revenue contribution of the several companies. You have Cipla, wherein 28% of contribution comes from US, Lupin 37%, Dr. Reddy 46%, Sun Pharma 32%, and Torrent Pharma 10%. So, but do note that this includes drugs which are manufactured in US and sold in US, where tariff wouldn't apply. But this is in the range of only 10%, while majority of the US contributions comes from the drugs manufactured outside US, which includes India and other countries.
Okay, thank you so much for that perspective, Varsha. Siddharth, if I can come to you, we've spoken about textiles as a theme of playing, of course, a weaker rupee. Pharma could well be that other play, and along with it, the tailwind with regard to CDMO and the possibility of China plus one could well play out much better in pharma than in textiles, you reckon?
Yeah, I think pharma is much better placed compared to some of the other sectors. India has a clear niche in terms of the end products that we supply, and I think US will not go to large extent in putting tariffs on pharma, because that impacts the core healthcare of the public. So while there are concerns, I think this is an opportunity. Some of the companies are doing very well, be it in the generics or in the CDMO space. Both are likely to do well. And also on the third front, there are a lot of companies which are purely focused on the domestic market, be it in the pharma space, be it in the healthcare space. That also, as a segment, is doing consistently well, and we believe that a mix of all these three factors: improvement in demand, stability in the key raw material prices, and hence improvement in margins, and finally your domestic market continues to remain strong. So these 3-4 factors contribute to strong earnings, both in this current quarter as well as in the coming quarters for the pharma space.
Just Siddharth, just a quick follow-up on this one, because pharma was such an outperformer of 2024, and generally when you see the outperforming sectors of a particular year, it becomes difficult for them to perform in the year immediately after that. You believe valuation comfort still available in this particular segment?
Yeah, Harsh, I think if you look at that could apply to a sector like real estate, which was a stark outperformer. I think pharma has been a consistent performer, and that performance is clearly linked to the earnings delivery. I think for the last 8 consecutive quarters, pharma as a sector has been delivering strong growth. Even for Q3, the December quarter, we are expecting a 20% earnings growth on a Y-on-Y basis. And on back of that, I think earnings are pretty stable and valuations still comfortable if these companies could deliver continue to deliver 20% earnings growth, I reckon that valuations at around 20-22 times on FY26, FY27, I think that still leave some room for the upside in terms of the earnings growth that could come by. So if you look at stocks like Lupin, they have been consistently delivering. Oro Pharma again, bearing few of the US FDA issues observations. Apart from that, delivery has been consistent, and the largest of them all, the Sun Pharma, I think there the earnings delivery is pretty constant, pretty stable. Even for FY26, we are expecting a 21% earnings growth. And if you look at from a valuation perspective, I think the valuation at around 28-29 times FY26 kind of factors the growth, but the upside would still be there in terms of the earnings growth. So we are looking at a target price of 2,100, almost like 20-21% upside from current levels.
Okay. Very quickly, Hemen, with regard to pharma, what's your sense at this point and any picks?
Pharma's corrective will take some time. Harsh, if I had to pick one stock, not short term, probably 1 year time frame, Divi's Lab. We are going to go to 6,800, 7,000.
Okay. I remember, Hemen, you had suggested Divi Slab at 7,000 2 years. You've come down to 6,800 1 year. So that's possibly a positive.